at a show at Pratt Institute called Zones of Conflict. And actually, I kind of think it's interesting because I like the diagramming of work, even though it seems like a lot of work for me to get into this stuff and look at it. I like the direction of some of this stuff because at least it's today. At least it's about sort of what's going on in the world today. It isn't about, some of it's in the artist's head, but a lot of it isn't. Like this. I mean, I always argue about this stuff as being somewhat illustrative. In other words, it's, I think I always find work like this, you really need to think about not only the content, but the formal elements of design and color. Like for me, this wall and this placement for Emily is more successful for me. The white wall, the images, the colors that they are, the feeling that I get from all of them together work for me better than some of the other pieces because the design elements need to also be present, not just the illustrative ones. And even if possible, that line, for example, here in the foreground, seems to go with this line over here. I think we have to remember that no matter what kind of content we have, we still need to be artists in the design sense. We still need to think about design, color, and form, even as. And when it gets more complicated, because when you have things like terror and war, then the aspects of the design that would support those things that go into the work need to really be thought out. I mean, it seems to me like this works for me. It could also be because it's on this nice wall by itself. It's a triptych. But some of these other pieces to me, for example, looking at this, I would say, I would think a lot about the fact of 5, there being 5 pictures, and that these pictures don't necessarily do anything for me. They don't need to be together. Maybe they are together. I'm not sure they mean anything. Some of the other things, though, like for example, again, this particular one, the Atlas group in collaboration with Selection, these will work a little better because, again, the formal elements of the book standing out really do, and the color and the black, again, the black over here work. I mean, it's a contrast, and there's also some actual like dots here that are not, that clearly show there's a lot of work in the conception of this. What else can I say? Some of the pieces here, like this one, again, I mean, the question I have ultimately about all of this is, how much time do I really, this is an example, again, of work that requires a lot of introspection and thought for me to take this in. Like a piece like this is kind of interesting because it sort of almost does some ideas that I'm thinking about. But the problem I have with this is, again, that the actual colors, forms, lines need to reinforce what the ultimate message is, and I don't know that it does. I mean, I don't know that this does, but I like the idea. But I would always thinking that if some of this stuff is done this way, it ought to, like the color of this thing, there is some meaning to it, but it's the meaning that actually should reinforce the psychological. Like if tool or weapon and necessity, there should be some way that the picture reinforces that these messages are different versus the other messages that are commentary. And so that's got to also, in my belief, be part of the design in a way that someone can feel it. And then and honestly, also the texture doesn't work for me. But I like the idea. I just don't know about. These are the sketches for it. And to me, though, these seem more like this would be a direction I could see myself going in. But I think these are more like an illustration of an idea. I still don't see whether these things become actual things that I want to look at. And I mean, if the purpose of this stuff is to educate me and to tell me something, then what do I get out of it? Like, what did I learn from this? Now, this is, the show again is Zone of Conflict. Looks like my battery's almost out, so I wanted to catch the show today, though, because it looked interesting, and I haven't been at Pratt for a while to go to an opening. So I'll put this up on my blog. But there again, I just want to say one more time that, you know, art today a lot of art seems to demand a lot. I mean, it demands that you look at it even as we have less attention to look at stuff. You know, and like this is kind of interesting, at least because the color is different in the middle, so there's a contrast there. What's it about? I don't know. Do I care? It looks like someone took a lot of care in it. Would I want it in my living room? No, but you know, it's interesting. It looks like they're really fine work. Like that figure looks really good, the one with the fallen thing, and they have a consistency. So I would say this is good work. So a lot of good work here, but it's not necessarily work that. In a lot of cases, to me, I do find a desire to know whether this work is really destined to be shown anywhere or is simply a means to make a protest. And if it is, then what is the message? Here I could say the message clearly is something. It is, well, obviously in the middle is salvation. And on the other side is the path to it. So I would say definitely some good stuff here. But there again, modern art in a lot of cases is asking a lot of us. And in a lot of cases I think maybe more attention should be given to getting people to come in and look at it and identify and engage with it really quickly, and then have something more that they can then engage with later. And in a lot of cases, I don't think that happens. That didn't happen in that piece over there that I was looking at. But I think there's a possibility that there are some really good pieces here of political protest art, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm happy I came over here. I'm having my wine, as you see. An interesting night. If any of you guys have been reading my Webmetric Screwer blog, you've been knowing that I'm having some problems with certain technical web analytics organization that I'm involved with, and I'm really finding sometimes the politics of art and the politics of web analytics and the politics of a lot of stuff. It just seems there's so many people out there all wanting to control things and get their money and their power and their influence. A lot of times I think that at the end of the day, the people that really need it the most aren't being served. And it just seems everybody wants their own little plate of glory. No one actually wants to do the work. Let me just say, you know, and I'll put it on my art blog, it's kind of really unfortunate that people don't really do stuff just for the love of it and always trying to get their own little piece of glory. Anyway, this is an art show, and I'm signing out. Bye.